Okay. Nerve, the Viper grew 4. Lease, by the way. Yeah, yeah, it is. On Sophie, by the way. And look at the weather. Or the weather base. Yeah. So not much of a car list. But it's the Viper. And there's a Veyron up ahead and an RZZ in Group 4. Well, what do we have near us that matters the most? Okay, because we have no chance at that top of the car list. Well, the front of the pack. But yeah, and the Megane and the Huracan and the F-Type. Oh, so the aspiration is out the window. And look, the Megane in yellow. Right. And then the 650 McLaren behind us and a Corvette. So this is like about to be maybe. And then like a 4C. Right. But, oh, now I drove this car in like a time trial before, and I had a couple of maybe nuts, right? So we could finish last, or we could have that Gran Turismo white line moment all over again, or we could get 12th place, like pissy about like whatever the Megane and the Huracan are guarding the RC and the Sphere about. But now with the fucking 650 RS, or whatever the hell it is in 11th and 12th place, and the track is doing, which it might not be the same track. Fuck. See how it doesn't matter before the race, and then it's just wait till after class? Right. So then radio silence. I mean, you don't want to wish me good luck or nothing. For die or die. And we are going to die. Okay. Okay. The Viper, the Sylvia, the 4C, the Jaguar, the Megane, the Lambo, the RCZ, and the Veyron, the Mazda, the Megane again, the 650, Corvette, and us. Okay. Naturally aspirated front rear, Dodge, Viper, Group 4, Rust, Sylvia, not a real car much. Now there's a 4C and the Jag and the Megane. Okay. The Lambo, the RCZ, and the Veyron. Okay. So there's girls in the race. Now girls could be literal girls or somebody who's irrational, learning to drive, and then they could be logical and valid, but then that shit could be unsound. So it could not be based on truth. Hence, front, and the Megane front again. Now here's a 650, and it's a pretty serious race from behind me. So is a Corvette. Okay. It's not that serious of a race for me, but I'd like to get this first place because that Veyron is bullshit. Okay. So is Sylvia. Now the 4C is saying, well, yeah, bullshit, but behind this Jaguar. Okay. So it's complete and utter bullshit at this point, since I'm catching up to the race. Okay. Now here's the Megane again, and like a different livery, and here's the Lambo. Right. Because of the girl drivers and the learning of it, right, it's worth doing the race, or doable. So let's, okay. You saw the Sylvia pull ahead, right? Yeah, because of the aspiration. And the bullshit of that front of the pack and the car list. Top, Veyron, and then RZZ, and the Megane. Some girl, tits meet toots meet tit for tat, and this just wasting my time for all intents and purposes, but I have to drive this race. Okay, but not really. Right. I let them go, basically, because they will just ruin it, or I'm in this Viper, and I don't want to ruin them. Okay, so that's how it's a race. Right. Turn 1, this Mazda, this Megane, and this 650. So, I'm behind this Mazda, and I should get the overtake. Behind this Megane, and I should get the overtake, and so is the 650, and I should get the overtake. Until I get the Corvette, and then I know whether or not I'm in trouble. Okay, as far as the rest of the race. Depending on what goes down and how early I get this overtake, which I don't have much, given the aspiration, and the fact that they all just took off. And at this point I don't know it, but I will catch up to things. Okay. Now, here's the Mazda. Bullshit car. No matter what livery it's on, it ruins the front of the aspiration. Okay. Here's a 650 OS, teaming up with them and being like, haha. Okay, like provoking or whatever. Now, that 650 OS is like, not liking that Mazda, the same way that whoever's in that Mazda does not want to be in that Mazda. Behind the Corvette, and racing me with this Megane. Okay. So the race starts to drag, or just slow to a crawl, basically, because everybody's bored and then just trying to avoid an accident or contact, or having to answer to the track marshals or the track, given that the track could just give out on us. Okay. Given the aspiration and the fact that I'm in this Viper, it's arguable whether I'm on the right or the left, because it's the Viper. And because it's me driving it, trying to win this race, trying to get podium or first place, or trying to get an overtake. Okay, but I'm American, Europe, and I'm no, right, I'm American for all intents and purposes, so they are looking at me like a liability. Okay. Now, we're catching up to the pack, but there's a gap between this 650, the Mazda, me, and this Megane. Okay. Like that other Megane that I already don't know, and like that RZZ that I already don't know. girl or not, tits or not, irrational student or learning driver or not. Okay. So I'm trying to avoid an incident or answer to whatever the lesson may be here. Okay. Which is the overtake that's about to happen again on the 650. Right, now, I just don't want to mess up the aspiration, and the car is giving the Mazda, and I don't know if it's delivery, I don't know if it's what it's made of, I don't know if it's the aerodynamics on it, but it just pulls on you. Okay, we're gonna get to it. See what I mean? Now, I can off-road like that because it's a Viper and because it's me, a young man. Okay, and for a little bit, because then I have the rest of the race compromised because I made that move. You're not supposed to go off the track and not go off the race now. But they let me have that overtake, and they're not supposed to do that. Hence, I had an injury. Okay. Now the 650 OS passed me again, and it's about to be Foxhole. Now I have Foxhole because I had that overtake already, so I have this overtake again here. Okay. Now, on this 650 OS, behind this Mazda, because it's a McLaren and it should be able to keep up with this Dodge. Okay. So he has an injury. Okay, or they rather. Mazda coming up again. See how it's not a car? Right. Like it's not advancing or falling behind, it's just in the way at all times. Right. Now here's a girl driver, Megan, in front, which doesn't matter. It's a real car, but it can't keep up, or it, you know, colors the race or just paints it makes the race a thing that it wouldn't be otherwise. Thanks. Now, I'm in this Viper and it's tough being left or right, giving nerve, and the fact that it's a bunch of turbochargers for all intents and purposes, a bunch of fronts, and the 650 and Mazda behind me, which the Mazda is, well, it just does this, whatever it is that it does when it does that. Right. Which is why it's not a real car. It can just do anything that it wants, like the Porsche. Like, it's just rear, basically. And just don't do that. Like the WRX. Right. Or any other turbochargers. So, I'm getting the overtakes on this 50 OS, and we're like, well, we're gonna drive in tandem, you and I, against this Mazda. Once you get rid of it, if you're still with me, by the way, keep it off of me, whether you're still with me or not. I have no idea about the front of the pack, given that we're so far behind, and they were just waiting for us. Okay. But they are overtaking me because of this Mazda. Right, and the rest of the pack, and I don't know, the temperature, whatever you want to call it. The race that day. Now, same thing as before Foxhole, you can get an overtake here, but there's off-roading off the track, and then it tends to give out on you, for whatever reason. No matter what you're driving, if you're really driving a car that is drivable. Okay. So now I'm speeding, or hauling ass, and then just flooring it, and then just all out. At this Megane, which you're not supposed to do, but I'm just trying to get away from this Mazda and the 650 OS, and then trying to see if I can just get a position that's worth me having this race, and then just seeing what it's about. Given the RZZ and the two Meganes, and the Corvette, and then the fact that there's a Veyron, okay, and then a Jaguar. So I am pissy, to say the least, about this lineup. Or the car list, rather, sorry. And then the Silvia, and the Forcey. Okay. So I have no chance, whatever it is, but I have to drive as much as possible close to them to see what the hell is up with the aspiration. Right. And the car list. Okay. So the nerve gives out on me, and I know, okay, this isn't, and so it's fine for whatever my efforts may be. Right. You could drive this with a plane on top of them. You would still lose the race. Okay. Now, I have this Megane in front of me, right, but then I have this Mazda behind me, pretty much the exact same thing, since it's somebody who's learning to drive or has difficulty driving that thinks this is a choice. Okay, so it's For a little bit, I think that you can do, but not really. Right. Now, I'm trying to be patient with them, or give them the space that they need, given the Corvette. Right. And so I was just like, okay, I have the left and the right, as difficult as it may be in this car, for this race. And now I'm behind the Corvette, and in front of the Megane. Okay. But this Megane is driving so bad that I have to be like, okay, listen, like the 650 or like the 650 and me, we have to team up and then just finish the race without an accident, okay? So just stay behind me and mind the aspiration, which they do. Now, don't get an overtake. Don't get an overtake. Don't get an overtake. There is no overtake yet, okay? Because I have the lead because of the natural aspiration, okay? And when I get tired, then you get the overtake. But when the car gives out on me, then you get the overtake. You'll know from the track or from the race. Okay. From the left and the right. Right. And then there you go. Right. Now that's why it's a car. Because it has a driver like that. Or if you drive like an asshole like that Mazda, it just ruins the race. Right. Now I'm behind this Megane. And remember, it just took off basically. Right. Because of his turbo, or their turbo, or her turbo, and the front, and the way that they were driving behind me, they were able to just get the overtake. Now, you're not supposed to do that before the foxhole, or at the straights after the village, because there's an accident. Because you think you can do that, and you know you can do that, and you did that because of me. So, then I have an accident, or you have an accident. Right. Like the 86 from before. Okay, so then I have the right on this natural aspiration, where they have the left on that turbocharger, remember? But I'm trying to get to this car list, and I know that's bullshit. They're after some tits with that RZZ, or whatever the hell that Megane is for, so they're just wasting my time, wasting your time, right? But it's whatever. Now the car gives out again, and see, it's a temperature issue, or what the car is made of, given the fact that it's a front, and then who is the driver. Okay, so then the Megane takes over. Right, the car list was bullshit, and then they just wanted to see who was. Now I have too many incidents, so I have to yield to them. Okay. When I say they were after tits, it's basically because the RZZ looks like, you know, a girl with like a bra on. Right. Which, for all intents and purposes, is what they were doing this race, and not because of anything else, but ulterior motives being what they are. So you're just saying tits. Yeah, pretty much. It could just be like a young guy or a young man like that, just smart or whatever. Because then whoever was driving that Corvette, whoever was driving that Veyron, whoever was driving that Jaguar was old and driving with assist, given the RC, given the Sylvia, the 4C, and then the second Megane. And I completely forgot this Lambo. So whoever was leading was this Lambo. We can look at the race from their point of view, but it's, you know, motor or whatever. Right. Okay then. Hmm. Okay, so that's what you're thinking, right? They wanted to see with these cars who could drive on the left and the right, given the track that day. And then the temperature, really. Now, the water and the air said whatever they said, given the left and the right of these cars, given their size and the weight. You're not thinking the weight has an issue, but it does. I'll get to it in like a second. Now, the cars are made of whatever they're made of, given the heat, or not. And you're thinking, is there like a magnet that saves you from blah, 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 blah? And it's like, yeah, from the sun, the Mexico storm, and then like the North Pole. There's not a guy with like a magnet, and there might be, but then it's just like, a practical effect. Maybe that you're just like praying and hoping and betting on. Right. So look, the Veyron, the Lambo, all those are just like heavy cars. Right. Not the Megane or the RCZ or the Jaguar for all intents and purposes. Right. So we're cutting through the track. Right. And then creating our own air. But it has a temperature and a water. So it slides you left or right, or puts you in the middle. So then there would be an accident. Right. And then that thing that you do in tandem with like the front, with whoever's turbo or front. Right. Because you could drive the front, and you could drive the mid rear, and you could drive the turbocharger. But not your aspiration in mind. Right. And the fact that you just have like a fake happy or a fake smart or a fake pretty or a fake win. Because then you have a penalty, you have a deficit, you have you're going to have to answer for how or why you did what you just did, whether you win or lose. And you can't say, I don't know. Right. Somebody else is going to have to tell why, or they don't want to do that. Right. And then the Forester, which is such a small car. But if that thing so much as grazes you with the wind tunneling on it, it's like all the natural aspiration that you need. But it's a turbocharger front rear. Right. You think the Veyron can do that? No, not even a little bit. The Corvette, even though it can, because if you touch this Corvette, or if you touch this Ferrari, or if you touch this Mustang, but you can definitely fuck up a Veyron. You could fuck up a Veyron any day of the week. You just cannot do so at a Sylvia or a Lambo, because you're gonna piss off a Lambo. Are you insane? Or somebody who drives naturally aspirated front rear all the time. Right. In 2026, start getting unstuck is a 3D tic-tac-toe of just like, listen, this is tic-tac-toe. Over and over and over again. And there's one winning move in tic-tac-toe. Now you go, I go, and then I go, you go. However you want to play this, we play 10 games and you play 10 games. And then we're going to put them right next to each other in like a 3D graph, which is like an X, Y, and Z. And we got to meet in the middle. Now, I have to be home. I have to take a shit. And I have a wife to get you if you don't mind. It's just my wife. When you're ready, by the way, for this bullshit to end, because I'm going to play the same motherfucking game, and I'm going to be the same motherfucking motherfucker. If you want to be this piece of shit in front of me. Like you aren't going to die, or like there isn't worse than dying. But the English, the fucking video games, and the goddamn not fucking. My goddamn wife. You don't want any of this? Neither do I. Let's argue about who likes it the least. Right. Anyway. No, right? No, not really. Fuck.